So, here we are at week 13, and probably the most important decision you can make in the formation of your business is what form of business organization are you going to use. It can make a lot of difference in how the business is managed, how it's financed, and can make a real of a difference in terms of tax. Now, I am, not going to presume to step into Professor Garnett's bailiwick. He's forgotten more about tax than I'll ever know. Yay! But think very carefully about how you organize your business. In choosing what kind of entity to organize as, you need to consider about half a dozen factors. First of all, simplicity. The more complicated things are, the more likely something is to go wrong. One of the things to remember is that if you form a business and you've erred on the side of simplicity, you can always convert. But simplicity also brings cost effectiveness. You don't want to be spending more money on, on bills, whistles, and lawyers than you need to. So, don't overlook the benefits of a sole proprietorship or a comparatively simple partnership. So keep that in mind. Financing is also important. If you have a sole proprietorship, basically your ability to raise capital is going to depend on your own creditworthiness or what assets you happen to have. Keep the impact of that in mind. It may pay to bring in a partner who's got access to money. But remember, partners come with baggage too. Some of it good, some of it, okay, anyway. Okay, continuity. How long do you expect this business to run? Is it something that might go to another generation? Is it something you want to survive your own demise? So keep that in mind. Obviously, the hot setup there is the C Corp. Henry Ford died in 1948. He started as a sole proprietor, by the way. Henry Ford died in 1948, leaving Ford Motor Company as a corporation. Guess what? Last I knew, they were still cranking out at least F-150s. Continuity. Maybe it's not important to you, but consider it. Transferability. How easy is it to transfer the organization? For example, you've opted for simplicity as a sole proprietor. If you wanted to transfer that business, you wouldn't be transferring the business so much as real estate, inventory, equipment, could be fairly complicated. On the other hand, falling back on Ford Motor Company, if you purchase enough stock, you would have all of the assets of Ford Motor Company at your disposal. So in a sense, that would be a simpler means of transfer. So there are trade-offs everywhere you go. Tax, some pass-through entities work fine. Corporations, on the other hand, have a very high marginal tax rate. Problem is, or the solution to that, of course, is accountants. If you're paying corporate tax rates on stuff, you've got bad accountants. And most corporations work around tax liability, through the use of compensation, bonuses, other distributions to shareholders, so that taxation happens at the taxpayer's lower marginal rate. Finally, limitation of liability. Now, get this straight. Just because you're incorporated doesn't mean that you're not liable for acts of negligence or intentional acts. The limitation of liability that a corporation or limited liability company gives you really only extends to contractual obligations. So otherwise, every doctor and lawyer and accountant would be a corporation of some kind. Some are, but for other reasons. So keep those factors in mind as you go through the various entities. Probably in this day and age, the most flexible entity is the limited liability company. If I were starting a new business, I might very well look seriously at that. So, anyway, there you have it, and stay tuned for the final.